Hi VC, I hope you are all doing well. I did a video a few days ago and then I went to do another one and it went wrong badly as the sound just didn't seem to be coming out. It was obviously me. I don't think I put the volume up or something on it, so apologies to that. I know a few people watched it, but the Vinyl Professor and also somebody, John Bellamy, said there's no sound on it. So thank you to both of you for letting me know about that. Never mind. So I thought I would try something else. I decided to do a vinyl tag. I can't remember where this idea came from, but just the last few days been watching a few people's videos because it was under the vinyl tag. It was easy to like sort of find things rather than going from person to person who I didn't know. So just in case you're wondering, I am all right. It's just the sun shining in and makes me look very like washed out and pale. So no need to call a doctor or anything. Yeah, so I decided to do a vinyl tag a bit late. So here goes. So I'll have to keep, if I bring the questions up here, maybe, then might make it a bit easier. So, first question was, how many records do I own? I think I've probably got around about, from working out these Expedit cubes, sort of hold 80 or so. I think I've got about 2,000 records. That's albums and, like, for instance, down here, 12-inch dance EPs, whatever you want to call them. And then I've probably got a couple of hundred 7-inch singles as well. Yeah, give or take. And then, as you know, I've sort of been doing these videos when I've gone to record fairs and sold things. So I've got those boxes as well. So there's probably a couple of hundred in there as well. So around about that. Maybe it's always been around about that. I'm not sure. I've had a cull like a lot of people did in the 90s, but I only really remember what I had when I see it in a rack. Um, so it's a bit difficult to say really how much I got rid of, but I think often for what I got rid of, I got other stuff anyway that I wanted. So yeah, around about um, 2000, I suppose. Now, the next question number two was, what kind of record player do I own? I have got an NAD 533, which is up there, and it's got a gold ring, like the gold ring stylus. I've also used the cheaper sort of basic stylus that you can get, but they don't last long, or something happens to them. I'm not sure what it is, but I will sometimes like keep one that if I want to listen to older records, I'll use the older, more rubbish stylus rather than, I don't know whether people do that in general, but it just sort of seems to suit me, I suppose, if I want to copy something that's not as good, quality or something, then yeah, I'll do that. So there you go. Question number three was, how old were you when you started collecting records? Now, I would have thought 14 to 18 sort of age. I had some. I can't remember how many, but I would have been buying singles from, early or a little bit pre-teen, so late 1980s. And then when I got to 18, around about 18 anyway, I went to work in a record shop. Or was it even 17? I can't remember. And from then, I would say I became a record collector because it was almost like you wanted your own shop at home. And I had even got like, or still have one, like old rack to put them in. And so you almost wanted your own sort of collection then at home to rival the shop, or just to I don't know, to have, I suppose. So yeah, it was around about then anyway. Uh, what is the oldest record you own? That was question number four. Now, this is a very difficult question to sort of um, find out the real answer to. I don't even really know when they started making 33 and a third albums. I think it was after the Second World War. I have one or two 78s, but I haven't got anything to play them on. I do have, or in our family, we've got a phonograph. So that is like end of the 1800s, beginning of the 20th century. I haven't got it here though, and it's only got one side and it's a disc. So whether that is actually constituted as a record, I don't really know, or is it just like a is it just like a whatever you want to call it? You know, it's a recorded thing, obviously. So I just decided to show this because this is taken from radio recordings of the 1950s. And I'm presuming that the record, and judging from the sleeve and the label on it, it's from a similar sort of time. It's this sort of Decca red label there, and you know, you can almost click a record and find out how old it is. It sort of it feels and it looks not just the label, but the well, they're almost very close to 78. The sort of this unbreakable micro groove sort of thing going on there. Actually, no, it's got a bit of a tiny scratch there, but anyway. So I think this is probably one of the oldest records I have, but yeah, unless of course you were being really pedantic and say, oh well, it's some medieval recorder music I've got or something, you know. So it's 13th century, yeah. Anyway, next question was, what was the first record you ever got? Now, I would have gone on holiday, very young, and I was aware of this band, and I liked this band, and wherever it was that we went, like a holiday camp, they gave us a flexi disc of it. So that was the first record I had. It was one-sided. I don't remember the tracks on there, or was it a mega mix? But because I don't have it anymore, I've got the Boney M mega mix with, in fact, it's a 12-inch mega mix and a 7-inch mega mix, and Mary's Boy Child as well. So this is a 90s re-release, but that is the oldest record, or the first record that I got. That was what it was. It was a Boney M flexi disc. After that, it was a football record, which if you watch my vinyl intro video from like maybe 3-4 years ago now, you will find out what the first proper record was, or whatever. It was from 1982. In that video, if you watch it, that's a clue. And it was a football record. What is the first record you got with your own money? I was on holiday. I think this was it, or certainly album. I bought 2 albums together. One of them, they're very polar extremes, these 2 albums. One was this children's puppet record. His name was Roland Rat, and it was an album. And the other album, me being a teenager and aware of teenage boys, was Madonna Like a Virgin, which I bought. I don't think I was aware of the album before it, but this is the album that I bought. This isn't the same copy. The first copy I would have played a lot. This is the one with Into the Groove on it. So I think that makes it later, because this album without it on was earlier, if that makes sense. It had this sort of a sleeve with this sort of nice papered innard with a polyliner on it. What is your favourite coloured vinyl? I'm not that into coloured vinyl, but I thought I would show this. Jana Hunter, Devendra Banhart. I think it's limited to about 1,000 or something, which makes it interesting. And it's on not particularly for the colour, but just I thought the record. Does it really matter what colour it is? It's white labelled, and it's almost like canary yellow. I think I've shown that before. I do have some coloured vinyl, some pictured vinyl, but not so much. You know, I'm the sort of person, if it's on black vinyl, I would probably prefer it 9 times out of 10 on black vinyl. What is a discount album you own? Well, I could have gone for all, like, if you watch my videos, they're usually like £1 fines anyway. I couldn't really think of anything I got that was new as a bargain, so I went for second hand, and I bought these in Berlin, and they're probably reasonably hard to find on vinyl. It's Catherine Wheel. It's not the first 2 albums, which are very difficult to find. So these cost me €10 each from somewhere in Berlin. I remember it was a shop that you could look out the window and oversee the square. I'm not sure was it the centre of Berlin or where, but so we've got Happy Days and we've got Adam and Eve. So I consider them the best finds that I have found. Number 9, what is your prized possession? Now this was the most difficult question of them all, because nothing really jumped out at me, but I suppose because it sort of reminds me, I suppose, of a certain time of my life, early 90s, and going out all the time, I went for this 12-inch Weekender by the almost the same as Happy Mondays for London, Flowered Up. That's what I went for. I think it's even one-sided actually. Yeah. A record by a female artist. You're having a laugh, aren't you, with this sort of question? I could have had like Joni Mitchell, PJ Harvey, I don't know, anyone. So here's a record by a female artist, and just in case you haven't got enough energy to turn it over, it's the same on both sides of the picture. Okay. A record by your favourite band. I'd say The Church, the Australian band The Church, are my favourite band. And a lot of the more recent ones, they either didn't come out on vinyl or they're very difficult to get. So I went for this just because it's sort of a best of these earlier years before Starfish, and it's a good sort of selection. And also there's a few tracks on there I really like Life Speeds Up and B-sides from singles and things that are difficult to get. What else is there? Sisters, The Golden Dawn, Fraulein. Yeah, just lots of tracks that are quite difficult to get this in a part of it. Okay. Rather annoyingly, it's missing one of this sleeve I had there, but the other one never had it in. I was that mad on them then. I went to buy it very expensive from a shop in London on an import. I think like even in Oxford Street or something. So that's that. An impulse buy. I'm not really known for my impulse buys. This maybe even wasn't an impulse buy because I liked John Spencer Blues Explosion. I went for this particular Boss Hog album from the mid-90s, from 1995, and I like it. I never felt the need to go and get any other albums by them, but that was what I got. God, this is a really good chunky vinyl. This is. Ooh. It feels like chunky because it's not been like 180 grammar sized. Yeah, it's just what it should be on, you know. Question number speeding up a bit now. We're going on a bit here. Oh, a gift. Well, back in the 80s, I wanted a Christmas album. I asked for it, and I got it. So I got the Now That's What I Call Music Christmas album. This has been re-released actually now, but without saying why, it has one less track on it, which would be side 1, or what was track 7 is not on there now. So there we go. Most played record. I had a holiday with some mates, early 90s, and this was always on in, I think we went in like 2, 3 cars, I can't remember. It was on in every car all the time. It was on all the summer. Even now, I haven't gone back to listen to it properly again, and I don't even remember it so much now, but it's in a good way evocative of reminding me of that particular holiday. But it just got played too much. So this was the most played record I put. Out of Time by REM, which, you know, it's got lots of different tracks on it. It's a very well balanced album, but I've never felt the need to go back and listen to it much. A rarity. I don't know that I have that many rarities. Even from my record shop days, I don't think they're that rare. But I thought I would just show you these, or this. It's a couple of Blur promos. This is Pop Scene on the black sleeve, which was a hit, but not on an album. From, it doesn't say, but anyway. And this is edited and unedited version of Bang, which was from, is that Modern Life is Rubbish? I can't remember. So that's that question answered. A Rainy Day record. Now, when I worked in this record shop, this album reminds me of it raining outside and it being very empty, not much going on. Even the cover suggests rain. On the back, they are sitting outside a cafe, obviously, I think that's Dutch. And this is a Delamitri album, even the cover, it looks like it's been raining. And this album just reminds me of the rain, I suppose, and just a nice rainy day. And, well, rainy days are like that, aren't they? Sometimes you're happy with them, sometimes you're not. But I guess if it was a nice rainy day, I could play this. And just as an addition, they also did a single, not on any albums, called Spit in the Rain. The Feel Good album. James Griffiths, Final Professor, has been talking about this in his excellent video. This makes me feel good. Be very good in a car as well. I haven't got it on CD, but very positive album. I could almost have had Steely Dan as well in that category, I think, because I don't really listen to Steely Dan's lyrics. Actually, I've even left it sticking out up there, their greatest hits. But a nostalgic record. So I could have gone for their debut album, but the nostalgic thing of the early 90s again, which a lot of these records I've been showing have been from that period. So I went for Gold Against the Soul, Manic Street Preachers, which at the time I think a lot of people were a little bit disappointed by. And then afterwards, the Holy Bible, they lapped it up. But this isn't a bad album at all. You don't just put out between those two albums, you don't just put out a duff album. Maybe some of the tracks aren't quite as good, but then you could say the first album, it was double, and that could have been cut down to a single, but they insisted on having a double album. So I went for this, and it's a beautiful cover as well. And we're nearly there. We're almost there. a record store day purchase. I will probably, if I'm not working, have the chance sort of thing go to something then. I think I might be working. But record store day, I've only been to a few with mixed experiences. So last year I went to a shop in Oxford and there wasn't much left, to be honest with you. So I went to this Ocean Colour Scene. In a way, sort of to buy something, but it's a good album, so it's on red vinyl. There was actually like 5 or 6 copies of this left just in the racks, and nobody was obviously, your Oxford hipsters, they don't like this, obviously. Um, yeah, so I went for that, and I remember somebody, was it Dino? I think Dino couldn't get hold of it, and it was there, but I think he got hold of it in the end. But yeah, it's funny how sort of one place everything goes, and in another place nothing goes. Last of all, it was a recent record store, a recent purchase. I struggled with this one a lot, but I did remember that I bought this when in Finland on one of my many visits there. Kupparilinna, which is Copper Castle, and it's on a the Palace label, and they look like hipsters, but it's actually some nice sort of folk pop. And that's it really. So thank you for whoever started the vinyl tag. It's proved a very fruitful series. This is a bit late. Hopefully the sound will work on this, and I will see you all again quite soon, hopefully. Cheers now. Bye.